I actually found a pack of Fallen Empires in a box I had, so we're going to open this as well. Why stop the fun? That's what I say. And we'll mix in some Homelands. In the southern oceans of Dominia Prime lay a continent of great kingdoms. Far from the war between Urza and Mishra, the lands of Sarpadia prospered. But as the climate changed, climate change, resources dwindled and empires crumbled. Hideous new species arose in the forests and seas, forcing the Sarpadians to fight for their very survival. Recruit these toughened warriors and vicious predators for your duels, but beware lest you fare no better than the fallen empires. Dun dun dun! 1994, Wizards of the Coast, printed in Belgium. There's the old Wizards of the Coast logo for you young whippersnappers. P.O. Box 707, Renton, Washington. Printed in Belgium by Cartamundi. 8 tradable cards. Oh, wow. Garfield Games. And I think Richard Garfield made that Keyforge game, which is relatively new. You must have Magic the Gathering to play. Deckmaster. Master your deck. Okay. Enough fun. Oh, that was like a perfect pack opening there. Let's see if I can get the cards out. Dun dun dun. Vacation Phalanx. Anybody want a loose pack? 5 mana. Summon Soldiers. Kaja Foglio illustration. That soldier's happy to be there. Keeping a tally on how many kills she has. Sounds like a personal problem. Sounds like a psychosis. You got a psychotic in the army. 2/4 bans. Even after the wall was breached in half a dozen places, the Phalanxes fought on, standing solidly against the onrushing raiders. Disciplined and dedicated, they held their ranks to the end, even in the face of tremendous losses. Oh, he's cute. Look at this guy. Dwarven Lieutenant. 1994. Jeff Minges. That's his illustration right there. Summon Dwarf. 2 red mana for a 1/2. Target dwarf gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Dwarven officers were tireless in the battle, moving up and down the lines to rally their troops and boost morale. I like that illustration. Looks like people from Spaceballs, those little dink people. Ooh, look at that illustration. Elvish Hunter. What is that? Avatar, the blue people. Mark Pool illustration, 2 mana for a 1/1. A colorless in a forest and tap. Target creature does not untap as normal during its controller's next untap phase. This is alright. Decent card. Elves often tipped their arrows with a drug that caused deep but harmless sleep. Ooh, I like this picture. I like the old, the medieval pictures like Righteousness, White Knight, Crusade. Love these pictures. This medieval fantasy pictures. Look at that horse. It's a beautiful illustration there. Absolutely beautiful. Order of Leapbur. 2 white mana. Ooh, and they also have, this was back when they had the old white mana symbol before it became a sun. Randy Asplund Faith. 2 mana, 2/1, protection from black. For 2 white, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. For 1 white, it gets first strike until end of turn. Not bad, not bad. Trained to battle the followers of Torok, the Order of Leitbur. Little misprint there. Print dot right there on the L in Leitbur. Was not as successful in later conflicts with Orcish and Goblin raiders. So with Fallen Empires, it was like I think each color had kind of two different, basically, empires, quote unquote. Like the green, I think it was the elves, and then you had the, what are those things? The growthy things. I can't remember what they're called. I can't remember. And with these, you probably had the Order of Labor, and you had, and then Order of the Ebon Hand was the black, and then you had, like with red, I think you had the goblins and the orcs were red. So each color was divided into two, like, factions, hence the name Fallen Empires. Orc. 3 mana, 3/2 cannot be assigned to block any creature of power greater than 1. What a weenie. He's all talk. Needs to hit the dentist. What's that? Medallion around his neck. Red and black medallion. This is Wolverine, kinda. He's channeling Wolverine there. A whole skin is worth 1,000 victories. Orcish veteran of the Battle of Montford. Illustration by Rob Alexander. Mersane. 4 mana, enchant creature. Put 3 net counters on Mersane when it is brought into play. Target creature Mersane enchants does not untap as normal during its controller's net untap phase as long as any net counters remain. As a fast effect, target creature's controller may pay creature's casting cost to remove a net counter. Oh wow. Pretty much ties up, hence the name, Mersane, or hence the picture of the net. Ties up the creature. And he would have to pay 3 times to get the net off. Wow. Armor Thrall. Poor scared little guy. Summon Thrall 1/3. Yeah, so I think the Thralls and the Order of the Ebon Hand were the 2 factions from the color black. Pete Venter's illustration. Sacrifice Armor Thrall to put a +1/+2 counter on target creature. The worst thing about being a mercenary for the Ebon Hand is having to wear a dead Thrall. Ivra, Jur's daughter. Oh, come on. The clam. Homarid. Looks like a big lobster. 3 mana, summon Homarid. Brian Wackwitz. Put a tide counter on Homarid when it is brought into play, and during your upkeep. If there is 1 tide counter on Homarid, it gets -1/-1. If there are 3 tide counters on Homarid, it gets +1/+1. When there are 4 tide counters on Homarid, remove them all. So it becomes a 3/3. Then it goes back to being a 2/2. I don't like dealing with counters. Did you ever get to take one off and then you're like, hey, did I take a counter off? Did I not take a counter off? Let's do 1 pack of Homelands. Bringing it back home. 1 mana for a red Winter Sky. Flip a coin. Target opponent calls heads or tails while the coin is in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, Winter Sky deals 1 damage to each creature and player. Otherwise, each player draws a card. Mike Kimball illustration. Another Rashka, the Slayer. I'm going to have to make a white deck in Homelands. Can block creatures with flying. If assigned to block any black creatures, Rashka, the Slayer, gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Rarely be the prey so haughty as to hunt the hunter. Baron Singer. It's a Christopher Rush illustration. Not his best work, in my humble opinion. Another Trade Caravan. Another Inaba Shaman. Another Samite Alchemist. Feast of the Unicorn. This illustration isn't as good as the other one. Target creature gets +4/+0. Some delicacies are not to be savored by the callous. And a Willow Fairy and a Giant Albatross with a different illustration. I like the other one where he's on the boat, but they're both by David Cherry.